Marcel, once he pops in. Marcel.
Yo, yo, what's going on, BG?
What's up, Sil?
What's up, T? How you feel?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. You know what we
Can
all
y'all
going through right
Okay.
now.
you can hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So what's up everybody? Thank you guys for joining Be Great, Good to Great. I got T and Marcel here with me. You know we can't do Instagram live with two people, so this is how it works. But I met T, man, we met high school, a long time ago. I went to BHS, she went to Neuqua Valley, Bolingbrook and Naperville back in the day. Marcel, I'm AKA, he's an alpha. We met at SIU, fam. He's a Delta.
Okay.
We got four. All Greek.
Don't be hating, T. Don't be
I'm
hating.
not hating. I'm not
Ski, I love. We love the Deltas too, though.
We do. All Greek fam, Greek love. So
Absolutely.
shout out to everybody that's
Divine
Greek.
line.
If you in the live and then you D9, please drop what you're doing today. Today's actually my 7-year anniversary from crossing. Also, it's Marcel's birthday, so everybody wish Marcel a happy birthday today.
Thank you. I appreciate all the love.
Of course. I appreciate you all for being on the live. And I know today, right, it's a very heavy topic to talk about the funeral business, especially during quarantine and what's going on now. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. For everyone that's listening in on the live, if you have any questions, this is meant to be interactive, right? So please drop any questions you have in the Q&A bar or just in the comments, and then I'll write them down and address them as the conversation goes on. So individually, maybe I'll start with you, Marcel, but tell me about a little background about yourself and how you got into the business.
Oh,
I think you got paused.
you did.
Funeral director and embalmer in the state of Illinois and Indiana. Can you all hear me?
Oh, yeah. Just go back. Do it again. Yeah, it was paused.
Well, my name is Marcel. I'm 34 years old. I'm a licensed funeral director and embalmer for the state of Illinois and Indiana. And currently, I just kind of do trade work for a handful of funeral homes in the tri-state area where I just go in, kind of embalm and kind of we do removals, we do dressing and casketing, and kind of sit with families and see them and, you know, just kind of sit down and see what type of life service they would like to have for their loved ones. So I'm more so on the trade side of the business. I'm not sure what you do exactly, T, but, you know, I'm kind of in and out of a lot of places these days. So, yeah, just ask me whatever questions. I'm kind of open to answering whatever questions you all may have and just kind of flow through it. So, yeah, just shoot me down.
Okay. And T, what do you do?
No, I'm not a trade worker. I'm only working at one funeral home. But I'm T. I'm 26 years old. I am from Chicago, but I reside in Naperville. I do everything basically what Marcel does. So the same thing.
But can you talk about the difference between like what's a trade and like what you do? Right, what does that mean?
Well, trade environment.
Well, kind of like what I do, like T, I'm not sure what stage of your career you're in, but what I do, I used to be a full-time 9-to-5 worker inside of a funeral home. I started out at a mom and pop funeral home, and then I kind of moved out into a corporate type of funeral home for a couple of years before I decided to kind of just launch out and kind of be a trade worker where I go into different places and offer my services at certain rates. And I kind of do that for multiple places at one time. So I'm kind of like on call all the time.
So you're pretty much like a contractor funeral director.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Instead of working
so that's the best.
Yeah, it's better.
What are the pros for being like a contractor rather than just like working with a direct funeral home?
Well, there's pros and cons. The pros to me is that you're able to move more freely. If you're good at managing your own time and prioritizing things, I think that's the best position for you to be in. And there's opportunities to make more money too, and just kind of see the ins and outs of different places and sharpen your skills in different areas too. So you might be working for a Caucasian funeral home one day and kind of be in that setting. Another day I might be in an all-black neighborhood where I'm just serving in that capacity. So it's all different, you know. So I appreciate just being able to dive into different aspects and different cultures of this industry. So yeah, it's much different. It's much free. Yeah. And I just can't be still. Like I just can't be still. I cannot work 9 to 5 at one place right now. You know, I've been through that. It's definitely necessary. It taught me a lot. But just I love the way that I'm able to manage my own schedule, my priorities, and things like that. So that's why I chose to do trade work. I just kind of actually got laid off a couple of years ago, and I decided not to apply for a job anywhere and just kind of go out and kind of get it. So yeah, That's where I'm at with that now.
And within the funeral business, right, whatever I think, right, I'm in the finance world, so I know nothing about mortuary science. So when I think about people in the funeral business, all I know is like this funeral director. Since I know you both an embalmer, right, but like I don't know other roles. Like, what are roles like at a high level? Not what they do, but like what are specific roles that are within like the funeral business?
Yeah, it's embalmer, arranger, a person that do removals.
Yeah.
A person that's on services. It's all types of jobs to do in this field. Like, it's just not one particular thing.
I agree. There's a lot of aspects to this job. A lot of people don't have an opportunity to succeed. Of course, it's a sad job, most people think, but we do have fun in what we do. There's a lot of laughter and humor, and it has to be. You know what I mean? Because just think about it. Yeah, and it's also beneficial just to have a certain type of personality about yourself when you're going into a place like this, because you got to think, you know, folks are coming into a funeral home already, in most cases, at their saddest point in life. They just lost a mom, a dad, a son, or whoever. And sometimes they're not expecting to meet somebody with a great personality that can probably make them smile and laugh a little bit, and also take care of the business at the same time where it's suitable to the family's needs. So, you know, I think that's very important. Of course, like T was saying, there's parts where we're out all times in the night, driving around, picking up bodies from hospitals, nursing homes. Somebody may have died at home, on the toilet. You never know how a person may pass away. Like, we on call 24/7 to go to that place and remove that person with dignity and respect and all that stuff. So yes, definitely an interesting field to be in.
You have to treat the person like it's your loved one.
Yeah. And so one of the main things with how I do operate in my field now, you definitely have to be able to prioritize, because I may be at one funeral home on Monday and I wasn't able to finish something. I have to know in my mind to go back and finish that before maybe the family has to come and do a viewing or a funeral. I may have forgotten to dress the person, but you have to be good at prioritizing things. So that's the main thing for me now.
It seems like Marcel is a bit of like, and T is a bit of like psychology in what you do, right? Yes. It's not like a business where you can just go in, like finance, right? It's like, here are the numbers. It is
Absolutely.
What it is. If it's down 7%, that's fine. This is like, if somebody's, like you said, son or daughter has died, right? You're there right after, whether they just died at causes or whatever. So like, how does that play into effect with like, you know, coming into mortuary science? I don't know if you guys have to take psychology courses, but like, that's a part. You have to deal with the traumatized, you know, person. So like, how do you do that when you're first picking up a body? Somebody's like, don't touch them, or like, don't do something. But
about 20 minutes, we got Marcel Tee coming.
Like, how do I handle that? I mean, you just got to be prepared for this. Before any of that, I believe if you're going to get into this industry or even thinking about doing it, it has to be in you already. Like, especially in the aspect when you're dealing with families, that's really the toughest part. Like, dealing with the remains and stuff is very interesting to me. It does get very serious, and sometimes you kind of just got to step back. But the very delicate part is really talking to the families and stuff like that. And so it's kind of hard to just manage that. And you just got to be open to how they're feeling. They may be mad or angry, might yell at you and blame you for anything. And so you just got to be open for it, and just try to serve them the best way you can and be humble, you know. So that's the hard part to me.
Yep. And T, like, what do you think? Like, I always say, and I think you told me this too, like, mortuary science and people die is like a recession-proof career, right? Like, why do you think that this funeral business is like a recession-proof career?
Well, there's a time to be born, there's a time to die. Surely everyone's going to die and everyone's going to leave this earth. So this business is going to always be around.
Yeah, that's true.
We will never not be out of a job. So
how do you deal with it?
So like with that, right?
Go ahead.
What's your question, Brittany?
Like, more like, tell me how like mortuary science is a recession-proof career. Like, I know people are gonna die, right? Like, that's a permanent in life, right? You're born, and then after you're born, you're gonna die. So like, why do you think though? Is that the sexy part of mortuary science? Do people get in that career because people know, like, oh, okay, people are gonna die, so like, this is why I'm gonna do it?
No, that's absolutely the wrong. Yeah, I'll answer that first, and then you can go, T. That's absolutely the wrong reason to get into this business. Absolutely the wrong reason. It has to be in you. So like, the main question I get, right? A lot of people ask me, man, how did you get into mortuary science? What made you want to do that? And a lot of times they be like, oh, you make a lot of money, right? And it's like, you can, but that shouldn't be your main reason to get into any field, especially mortuary science. You know what I mean? So as far as the recession question, I don't think it's absolutely recession proof because things can change. But it depends on how you're working in this business. If you're working a 9 to 5 and the business gets slow and they feel like they don't need you anymore, then you're kind of like, so that's why I appreciate the fact that I can go into different places and offer my services and able, to go in these places and people give me a job, you know what I mean? So that's exactly what it is at the end of the day, an opportunity, And so every job that I get, I'm grateful for because these people can call anybody else. So I appreciate the fact that people trust me, to offer my gift and use my service.
So y'all would think it's more of a who you know business than a
yes,
what you know.
it is not what you know. It's definitely who you know.
It's definitely who you know.
It's so big yet it's so small and lucrative. So it's definitely who you know.
And I think another thing on top of that, Marcel, too, and maybe you can answer right after this, is like, for me, if I graduated in finance or accounting, business engineering, whatever career I'm going into, I know there's a Fortune 500 company that I can work for, right? But in the funeral business, it's not like I can go to this, Chase is not going to have a funeral part of their business, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like it's more mom and pops or smaller places. So, like, how would one even go about trying to find a career opportunity knowing that it's already like small business?
Yeah. Like it's two parts to the question. The first one is about who you know. A lot of times you're coming out and you don't know anybody. Like my family wasn't into mortuary science. My family never owned a funeral home. Most of my family didn't even go to college. You know what I mean? And so you have to know without a doubt that this is part of what you want to do. You have to be a dog at it. Like when I finished my internship, I went out to knock on every funeral home door that I ever saw, that I ever lived around. And I asked them, hey, do you need help? Is there anything I can do? And sometimes you start off, of course, like just working for a little bit of nothing. It is required that we do an internship for 16 weeks, coming from SIU. And then on top of that, we have to do an apprenticeship for 1 year. And you almost get paid nothing. So during that time, it's a full-time job you're not getting paid for. And you have to hustle, by having a side job or something like that. So it has to just be in you. There's no other way around it. If it's for the money, you won't last. Like you will not last. You will not last. If you're in it for the money, you won't last. Yeah. Like I have no schedule. Yeah. Every day my schedule is different.
Yeah.
Like I always thought
you're swimming with sharks.
Hey, Talisha.
So if you're not ready, don't do it.
I was just thinking about money, right? I thought the funeral business would be so lucrative and like everybody would make 6-figure salaries, right? Everybody in the business at least, right? So like, do you think for the funeral business, pretty much, it's probably like you said, right? There's probably some people who do, but like it's really probably tough to navigate and figure out who you know to get to those positions. And it takes a while, I'm sure, like you said, to get there.
I'll tell you like this, like in most cases, funeral homes are like owned by like family-owned funeral homes, like mom and pop. And so sometimes if you're not part of that family, it's kind of hard to move up. You know what I mean? Because there's already people in line that's kind of taking management positions or ownership positions.
Nepotism, right? Where they give it to
nepotism, yeah, for sure. And they may have children in the business, for example, that don't even want to do mortuary science, but just off default, of course, they'll take ownership of that particular business, and that's fine. If I had children, maybe that's something I don't know, but so that's why you got to be prepared and ready to just kind of just do your own thing in some way, form, or fashion, and it just has to be something that's in you, knowing that sometimes you might not have high opportunities where you work, but it has to be the gift within you. You can't be in it for the money. You kind of just follow your spirit every day as far as, what you should be doing, where you should be going. And if it's meant for you to have your own funeral home, maybe even, if that's in the plan, they may work. But you have to start somewhere in this business. You have to start with working for somebody to learn the things about the business, the ins and outs of how to operate with these families, different allies like the nursing homes, the cemeteries, and things like that. Like you have to find a home to sit at to learn these different things before you launch out on your own to try to do anything, even trade work. Like I think it takes at least 5 years of just sitting down at a particular funeral home where they're just pouring into you and you're just learning, looking over people's shoulders before you can go out there and say, hey, I'm XYZ and this is what I can offer. This is my price. Can you pay me this? You know what I mean? It's not like that. Like it's everybody in the funeral industry knows each other. It's a very small industry, basically, especially for African Americans. Like you may not know them, but somebody knows who you are. You know what I mean?
So can people be blackballed, Marcel? Like somebody doesn't do very well. So like since the funeral business is so small, nobody hires.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like
100.
that can happen for sure. But there's a large part of this business nowadays is being bought up by SEIs, where these corporations are buying mom and pop funeral homes and like placing these people in them to manage them and have no sympathy in the world as far as taking care of families, no empathy. And so
What does
that's the
SCI
downside of
do?
working for.
What does SCI stand for?
You want to
That's a
talk
big
about
service corporation. So it's like a big corporate funeral firm that buys these small funeral homes and
that?
just turn them into something else. You know what I mean? A different type of machine where it's not as personable as a mom and pop type of business. So I enjoy more so working for a smaller funeral home where I get to know people, I get to know the owners, the managers, and build relationships from there, and also build relationships with the community. So that's why I kind of like working in the Gary area. I work a lot in the Gary area as well, right outside of Chicago, at a smaller funeral home, which I love because they're a small scale funeral home, but they do so much volume because they do great work and they treat people right. They give back to the community. They do back to school fundraising, they give away book bags, toys, things for Halloween. So I like that aspect of the funeral business, working for a smaller firm and working more closely with the staff and also the families that we serve.
Become a
So
family.
yeah, because I'm a family oriented type of person.
Yes. Become a family in a small
For
business.
sure.
And so you did an internship, right, Marcel? And so how would one find an internship if they were pursuing mortuary science as a career as an undergrad?
You better call some funeral homes. You better knock on them doors. You better show your face. You better
Connection.
have
I
some
promise
type of
you.
resume. Like you might not
Yeah.
have experience, but make
Here.
something up, write it down, and just show them that you want to be a part of this more than anything. Because
Yeah.
honestly, when I managed a funeral home, I didn't really read people's resumes. I wanted to feel what type of person you were and just to see you, you know what I mean? And feel you. So I didn't read a whole lot of resumes. I don't think people really read mine. They look like, oh, you have a degree, you went to school, but okay, whatever. Like, what can you do? Who are you? You know? So yeah, it has to be in you. Like, I believe at a young age, this is something that's kind of been a part of me. And over the years, I've kind of just unraveled it and discovered in different ways. And the embalming aspect of it is the part that I appreciate the most coming into it at first, because I looked at it as an art, you know, like a painter may paint a
Embalming is
picture.
like being able to like fill the body with fluid and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many words in
Pretty
layman's
much,
terms, yeah.
to preserve and disinfect the body,
Yeah.
for the body. It's
Yeah.
So that is good during the funeral service when you have the open casket.
mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. And so T, can you talk about I think when people think about first responders, right, they think about nurses, they think about people who are alive, right? But I think you guys are also pretty much kind of like first and last responders.
Yeah, people forget us all the time. Like during this whole
Yes.
crisis, like people have been talking about nurses, doctors, you know, ambulance drivers. Like, what about us? Like every day I'm out here around somebody, you know, that passed away of this tragic virus and things like that. And sometimes we're just like,
on purpose. You just tend to forget.
That's true. You think about the people who are alive, people are still like talking about it a lot. But like, T, tell me how like because of like quarantine, right? How has that affected funeral services now? Like, because I know a lot of people are doing Zoom calls now for funeral services, right? And I don't know the difference.
FaceTiming.
If somebody has COVID or not COVID, like how does that work?
You say
If somebody has COVID, how does the funeral
if
work?
Or just like during quarantine, right? What have you seen personally that has shifted, that has been different during quarantine prior to like before no one knew, before COVID even existed or before we knew about it, right? What's the difference now between funerals then to now?
So at first, I think one of the main things, a lot of people, when it first came out, were very scared. They didn't know how to react to this virus or how it would spread. And so a lot of times family would just be opted out of having a closed casket funeral or just opt for cremation.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of will affect the funeral home business in a lot of ways. It affects the type of service that we're allowed to offer the family. And of course, that does affect the dollar amount that's coming in because we're pulling back as far as the services that we can offer families. And, you know, a lot of families, like I had a couple of friends, unfortunately, who had families pass away of this disease, and they shared with me their experience with the funeral homes and things like that. And it's just not a really good response that I've gotten back from families. A lot of people are are sad and devastated. And a lot of times they point it at the funeral director, you know, but it's not us that's making up these rules and regulations saying, hey, it's only 10 people. You know, I hate the fact that people can't mourn together. I want people to come into fellowship and to mourn together. You know what I mean? And it just hurts me that, you know, we aren't allowed to do that. But I got to understand as well that we have to protect ourselves and we have to protect the family that we're serving at that time too. So we're helping them and we're helping ourselves. You know what I mean? And so it kind of hurts at the same time, but it's something we got to kind of balance and kind of work through. And I believe we will get through this, and we will continue to serve in style together. Again, I believe once this epidemic and this pandemic is over. So yeah, I just can't wait because I really love what I do. Yeah, so but it has taught me a lot too, though. It's taught me a lot. Like it taught me how to deal with people differently. You have to be more sensitive because people's anxiety is heightened now. Their frustration is heightened now. Their anger is heightened now. Everything about the experience is on a whole nother level. And you have to be twice as prepared to kind of deal with these emotions and manage these people's emotions at the same time. Plan this funeral, you know what I mean? You have to plan this funeral. So planning the funeral in itself is already detailed. And like I said, the hardest part is managing these families, managing their emotions, and trying to get the business done in a timely fashion at the same time, because this thing is heavy and people are dying at an alarming rate. And we don't want to rush families in and out, but we kind of have to do it expeditiously, also without forgetting to cross our T's and dot our I's, you know what I mean? To get to the next family, because we don't want to have more people waiting too. So it's not a lot of time where we can build those relationships at the table with that family like we did before, you know what I mean? And so it's almost like every service is like, oh man, I hate this. Forget the funeral home. What's going on? And a lot of times they're saying, we're just going to cremate so and so. We can't come anyway. And it's like, man, you know what I mean? So
and that's what people think. I think about funeral directors. I think I was talking to T about this prior to this live, and I'll ask the questions that people ask after this question. But like, people think that funeral directors don't have emotion, right? Because you come in and they're just like, you guys. I would say like funeral directors are up. For me, you come in, you're just like
we have a resting.
All right.
Face.
You know, it's like, all right, sorry for your loss. Okay, cool. But it just seems like you have funeral directors have no emotion. Like, is that a thing that is learned during the funeral business, or is it something where it's just like
I'm a super duper emotional person. I see some of my coworkers on here that I work with, but anyway, they would tell you in a heartbeat. I see Talisha on here. Like, I will be at a funeral service and start busting out crying during the service like it was my family member. I promise you. Like, it may be the fact that I talked to the family and they told me about this person, or maybe I knew of the person and saw them around, and it just kind of draws out different emotions and things like that. But they will tell you, they clown me all the time, like Marcel is about to start crying. Watch. Like, I can't help it. You know, I just can't help it. It's just a part of me that lets me know I'm alive. That's also another reason why I love this job, because it brings a different part of my spirit out. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love it.
What do you think?
Oh, I definitely have emotion, especially when it comes to young children. That's where it hits me right there. You expect older people to pass away. That's natural. But when it comes to kids, I'm definitely about to sit there and sob with the family. And you got to realize it's not about you. You have to make sure the family is okay. But at the same time, you have emotions. And it might come out, you know? But we know how to control, you know? But a lot of people, we don't have emotions because
you're desensitized to it. You see it every day.
Yes, but we do.
Yeah, I'll also say this. I'll say this though, because I'm not desensitized. I don't think so. No, I wouldn't say that. It's just that I just firmly believe that the Lord is working through me to do this, because I do have moments where I get super emotional and I step back almost as if I'm looking at myself doing this, and I'll be like, what the hell am I? You know what I mean? And there's nobody but God doing this for me, because I can't answer when people ask me, why do you do this? Why? I don't know. I know that it's right. I know that it's something I'm good at. And I'm not saying it to brag, but I'm saying it because it's a gift. It's a calling. Like, there's no other explanation for me to describe to you why I do what I do. I can tell you different aspects I might like more than the other, but it's definitely a calling. Like, I've tried to do other things. You know, it's been moments in my life where I've done other things that made more money, but it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't feel right. And I also learned that, like, I was reading the book, The Alchemist, right? One of my friends had gifted me a book, The Alchemist. and it was talking about like just following your legend, your personal legend. And sometimes we may have our own legend, our own goals and desires. But this book had taught me within this industry, because I had so many plans and desires super early, to just step back and just every day just follow those little signs that lead you to that purpose, that place that you're supposed to be. And so every day in this business, every single day, it just, you have to learn how to readjust and focus, because things change. People die at a rapid rate. It may be at 3 in the morning. You think you're about to go to sleep. No, you're not. You got to get up, go get that person, bring them back, try to get a nap in, but then your phone rings again. You got to go get somebody else. So it's very tragic. And
it's like a doctor, right?
Yeah,
You're always on
we
call.
are.
I say that I'm the doctor for the dead. I've been saying it for a long time. We are like doctors. We're the doctors for the dead. And so we're exposed to a lot more. We do perform operations. The person just isn't alive. You know, we're just at as much risk, if not more risk, you know, dealing with folks and things like that. So like T said again, you know, you're treating everybody that comes past you through the funeral home that you may be at the time like they're your family, like they're your loved one. That's the main goal, is just being great at every single case that you do in front of every single family that you're sitting with. You have to just show yourself, you know, and allow these people to trust you, because they're giving you their loved one, not just money. That's the small part. They're giving you a family member, you know what I mean? Like literally giving you a body that belongs to them and trusting you with that. That's the most valued possession a person has other than time. It's like, I'm giving you my dad and telling you, hey, this is what I want. I'm trusting you with his, not his life, but his remains, all that he had left. You know what I mean? And so I take it very seriously, what I do. I do have different parts of my personality that comes out at different times. And it also, it complements what I do, actually, in a strange way. But, you know, it's real. You know, you have to have that to help these people out. And during this coronavirus time as well, it also has affected the grief process. I want to talk about grief for a little bit, because I know there's people out there that have lost somebody and they're just kind of going through, and they can't even grieve together, like they said, because they're only allowing 10 people at a time in these funerals. And so that's the most devastating part for me, is that I know that these people aren't really mourning in a way that's suitable right now. You know, unfortunately, we have to do it like that, but that's just how things are going. And that's the part that affects me the most, you know, emotionally, because I'm looking at this happening and I'm putting myself in their shoes like, man. And so we have to come in knowing and understanding that these people are going to be angry at us because we're the ones right there at that time. You know what I mean? So you got to put all yours to the side, whatever you may be feeling or going through that day. Every day when you walk into a funeral home, you have to put all your problems away to be successful. You have to put all that away and know how to manage that when you get back home, because you're dealing with somebody who just lost somebody. Like, what else could have happened that's worse in your life than helping this person right now?
Right.
You can't name anything.
They're like giving you their loved one, right? Like, wow, like that's true. And
like, you gave me that.
Directly affected when it's your loved one, right? You can't really think about it as you're talking about it. But if you think about somebody that you hold dear, and somebody dies, like you handle everything differently, right? Everything is on 100. And so we had a question. We had a question too that said,
"Can y'all see me good? I'm kind of like,
y'all
good.
Okay, we can see you.
Okay,
we
great.
had a question that said, how long can a funeral home hold the body?
How long? It's not undetermined amount of time, you know, but I suggest the families, you know, because I know that's a great question, because even now people are trying to hold their loved ones in these funeral homes until they open outside back up, or whatever they're saying, you know what I mean? But it's not a law. There's no law saying, okay, you can hold a body for this long or you can't hold it for this long. But you have to use your own whims. Like, I'm not going to hold somebody's loved one in my funeral home for 3 months, because I want that person to look suitable. You know, the body starts to decompose and the appearance starts to change. The color of the skin starts to change. The texture starts to change. So the sooner you get to somebody when they die, the better. The sooner you get to somebody, the better, as far as embalming. So, like, for example, right, to those who may be listening, like if you lose somebody in your life, right, in your family, God forbid, but we all have to go, right? But if in fact you lose somebody and you don't know what funeral home to go to, you better start thinking about it now. Like, and you're just holding off trying to decide, is it going to be a service or not? Like, it's a tough thing to think about these days, but you have to think about that, because that's the one sure thing that we all are going to die. You know what I mean? And we want to preserve, you know, those remains, that body, the best way we can. So the sooner the better. Not to rush, but it just means so much to give somebody something back that looks, you know, beautiful or nice, or how they remember. And that requires us to do our job in a short amount of time as far as the body in most cases, because you never know how fast the body may decompose.
And I think that's why, so T was looking at me during that question because I asked her this beforehand, right? Like, what's the difference between someone that died of natural causes compared to someone that they found dead after 7 days, right? Like, what's that process? Does it just involve cost to make them look the same, or like, how does that go?
It can. So like, if a person was been found dead after 7 days, first of all, they're going to that coroner's office, that local coroner's office, where a forensic pathologist is going to perform an autopsy. So they have to do that Y incision, cut you open, you know. They also cut your cranium open and kind of test out and weigh your different organs and things like that. There's a toxicology to test your blood in case you were poisoned, you know, because it's kind of foul play. It's like, man, we found you at home after 7 days. What's going on? So they have to investigate. Now, if a person died in a hospital, or if the person was on hospice, you know, they don't need an autopsy because there's no foul play. It's no investigation. Now, if the family just desires, hey, we want an autopsy for grandma, you know, you pay $1,000, $2,000 to get that done privately, and you can do that. But in most cases, you don't need to do that. So that's one main difference. Now, most funeral homes or embalmers do charge an extra fee to restore a person who had an autopsy, you know, or had a gunshot wound to the head and things like that. People charge more for that. I charge more to restore an autopsy body, or a person who may have been an organ donor, you know, and sometimes those things take time or skills. You're exposed to a lot more chemicals because the process is much sensitive and much different. And so, yes.
And like you said, right? Didn't you say it was like an art to do it?
It's restorative art. Yes, he's good with that.
Restorative art.
Yeah. And then we got another question too that says, do you think
load me up?
Do you think that this will cause long-term grief and depression because people can't have a proper funeral during quarantine and grieve properly with their family?
Most definitely.
Yes. Especially for those folks, like, you know, some folks naturally just know how to go through different processes of life. You know, some might be grief. It may be in other forms. Some people are just naturally successful at whatever. Like, I believe emotionally, some people have this thing in them where it's just like no effect and they know how to grieve through it. But most people are going to have a tough time coming behind this, I believe. Like, and it's already happening. Like, people are grieving, you know, at a higher frequency, like, and a lot faster. And everything is so dramatic because of what's going on. You know what I mean? So you're seeing the grief early, actually. And also it may be extended to last longer as well. So I'm interested to see how it may play out. You know, I'm just praying that everybody comes out of this stronger and still have faith. But yeah, I do believe it will affect the grieving process for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And I want y'all to give advice for this individually. And so Marcel, I'll get this to you first, but like, what advice would you give to somebody who has lost or is losing somebody during this quarantine? What advice would you give to that person to help them maybe grieve easier, or think about the funeral process? Because I know the funeral process is huge, right? People always say, oh, have a will and a trust. Like, that's huge. But what advice would you give to like the people who are going through it, who are still alive? And Marcel,
man, to the folks that are going through this now, like, I pray every day. I don't have a singular answer for that, but I pray every day when I come into contact with these families that they come out of this. Like, I wish I had an answer. All I can say is that when you go into these funeral homes, you know, just try to be understanding. I know that you all are going through a lot, but just try to be understanding with your funeral director, because they are going through a lot too. Like, we lose family members too. You know what I mean? Like, funeral directors lose family members all the time. You know, and like I said, you have to come in and also put that to the side, but just know that we're people too, and we want to help you. Like, I want to help you more than anything else. But more importantly, know what type of service you want, and just know that we have your best interests at heart. You know, if you have any questions outside of this, please DM me. Like, if you don't know anything about funeral homes, you don't have a funeral home, if you just want to talk, have questions, just please hit me up. Like, I just want the people to walk into this thing as open-minded as they can and trusting as they can. because it'll make it easier for us and also for you as the family member who lost somebody. It'll make it easier for us to manage through those emotions and to kind of figure out how to serve you with what you want. Because like I said, one thing for sure, not to be cold, but all of us are going to die. Like all of us. The worst thing you can do is not be prepared to leave.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to be religious or super spiritual or some type of monk, but like you have to have something to hold on to, especially during times like this. Like every day is a new day, but also something tragic can happen. You know what I mean? So you just have to wake up knowing that life is just a moment, and just you have to be prepared. Like talk about these things with your family members, with your friends, about what you want. Like I want people to talk about death. I want people to talk about how they want to be remembered. Like I want death to be normal again. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to be this scary thing, this morbid thing, because it's really not. It's a natural thing. You know, and it teaches you so much about life, like just dealing with this. You know what I mean? So.
And T, what advice would you give to people?
He basically said everything. I mean, just at this point, you know, just have the faith. Oh, sorry, guys.
You don't put them big cheeks in the camera.
Basically, you know, just have the faith right now. It's a hard time right now, but just keep the faith, keep pressing, keep praying. Pray to whoever you pray to, God, Allah, Buddha, whoever, and we're gonna get through this. We are.
Hey T, I got a question for you. I know you work at a funeral home, but like, what exactly are you doing? What stage of mortuary science are you in your career? Like, what do you actually do? Can you share that?
What am I doing
right now? Like, what do you do? Are you an intern? Are you an apprentice? Are you
apprenticeship? I'm currently in the process of getting my apprenticeship, but right now I've been doing a lot of removals, a lot of arrangements and services. But since the pandemic, we haven't been doing a lot of services. A lot of people have been getting cremated, direct cremations actually. But I've been doing a lot of removals.
Okay.
And
now let me ask.
Who doesn't know that? What is removals?
Removal. Tia, answer that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's basically just transferring a remains from one location to the next location. So if they died at the hospital, and we can transfer to the crematory or the funeral home, or if the person got shot, we're going to transfer to the ME, and then they go to the funeral home. It's just, just transferring one location to the next location.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically picking somebody up and moving them to another place. Removal.
Okay. And so we got another question too by Super. I think it says Sophie or Sophie.
Where's Tony the Talker? I want to hear from Tony the Talker. I want to hear from your mom.
She did ask a question, but I'm gonna go.
Hey, listen, I've been listening to you all's podcast. I really like your mom. She asked some tough questions. She's tough. Like your mom, she's a beast. Like she pulls the best out of people. Tony the Talker is something else. I can tell you that much right now. Like
she's nothing like Brittany.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
They both are dope though, right? Like
they
both are dope. Yeah.
But Tony, baby.
Tony is tough. I can tell. Like I want to meet your mom one day for real. Like.
Yeah, you can meet my mom. My mom is definitely tough. She's definitely tough. She knows a lot about
She challenges people. That's what I love. I listen to every podcast that you had. And I love the way that she kind of just challenges the interviewee and just kind of pulls out the best in you and just forces you to think. She does that to you too, BG. Like, yeah, even during the interview, she's a mom. Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress off Tony the Talker. But yeah, ask me something from Tony, please.
All right. Well, first I'll do the Super Sophie, then I'll go to my mom. But she said, what do you do to get support for yourself after all this grief you bear for others as funeral directors, right? Or somebody in the funeral business.
Who asked me that?
It was Super SOHEIE, I think.
Oh, Super Soj. What do I do to kind of like take care of myself? Yeah, it's very important. It's very simple what I do. I take a lot of baths. I meditate. I exercise. And that's pretty much it. I kind of read. I talk to myself sometimes because it's tough. You know what I mean? I talk to other people that are in the industry sometimes, but it's also great to talk to somebody else that's not even part of this. Like, so I talk to different people kind of just to de-stress and decompress. But yeah, I just exercise mostly.
And catch up on sleep.
I sleep a lot. I'm a napper. Like, I'm a serial napper. I might nap at 3 a.m. or I might nap at 3 p.m. depending on how my day is. Like, I have to take at least an hour nap. I have to take it down. Yeah, so that's one of the things I do.
And
Uh,
relax.
yeah, relax, pray,
Relax.
read.
A lot of
Yeah,
inspiration.
read a book, read a book. But
Crossword.
also, this is crazy though. But the main thing I do that is therapeutic to me, and if you follow my IG, people know this. Like embalming is therapeutic to me. So I'm actually working and getting therapy at the same time because it's especially when I'm alone in a place by myself when I can just operate and just kind of I might play music depending on what mood I'm in. I do have different playlists when I'm working, when I'm embalming, that is. And so embalming to me is my gift. So that's therapy to me. Like it's interesting just to see have this canvas, right? This person and see them in the condition that they're in and kind of just bring them back to life. Like that's awesome. Like that makes me smile. Like
And there you
and
go.
the best
There she
You got a
goes.
comment from Tony the Talker, Marcel.
what she said, I'm not reading anything. I don't know who's writing, but I just know
Oh, no, you
Tony the
good.
Talker.
She said,
Let me
don't
try
mean to be morbid, but have you ever felt a connection to any of the bodies you removed that just crossed?
No.
Woo!
Before I even touch a body or anything, I pray because I believe in spirits and spirits jumps, and I try to keep my distance and no, sorry.
Give it to me again. What was the question?
So she asked, don't mean to be morbid, but have you ever felt a connection to any of the bodies that you removed that just crossed?
And this is Tony?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey Tony. Yeah, I feel it a lot. Like I'm very sensitive to those things. Like that's one aspect too that you have to be aware of. Like if you're just willy-nilly, just want to be some embalmer and you're just back there with these people, like those people have spirits and like energy and stuff. Like I believe that. I'm not sure what other funeral directors believe, but like you hear things, see things, feel
Yeah.
things. Like I feel a lot of stuff I can't explain, you know what I mean? So that's why you have to be spiritually grounded and to be in this profession, especially dealing with those remains, because people talk all day like, oh, the spirits is here, it's alive. People are, but like, no, it's for real. Like you have to, you
It's
feel it,
real.
you feel it. Like
It's real.
it's not me just saying this, like it's 100% real, and like you have to pay respect. Be respectable to these folks when you're embalming them, when you're in the presence of these remains. These are people still. You got to understand, like these are still people. Like you have to keep that in mind and just operate with dignity, integrity, respect, and all that good stuff because they're still watching. The spirit is still watching you. You know what I'm saying? God watching you. Whoever you believe, whatever you believe, you ain't it. Somebody above you is watching everything that you are doing, and you better, treat that person with respect.
So in the funeral business too, is it disappointing? I know yesterday or today in the news we saw like a bunch of people in Chicago having a big party, right? It was like 100 people in that room, or like 50 people, no masks. So like for you guys, is that something where you look at and you're like, oh my God, like what if they touch other people? Is that going to trigger a lot like more death?
You know what? For me, I just to those people that's doing that, like they have no idea what we see. Like, trust me, it's real. I know a lot of people see me out a lot every day, but I'm working. I have not had a off day from work since this started. In some capacity, I have done some work every single day since the coronavirus pandemic, and I've seen truckloads of remains at these hospitals. I know of personally people who have gotten sick from this. I've gotten sick earlier this year. I'm not sure what it was. That's before this whole thing came out. So like, it's something out here that's just kind of trying to wipe people out, and it's very real. So all these gatherings and things that people are doing and kind of trying to go against the system, like, please stop.
Stay
Please.
home. It's
Stay
no
but
joke.
home.
We are swamped out here.
But just like I shared in the conversation earlier I had with a friend, like people never know until it hits home how serious something really is. And that's anything in life. Like until it hits your front door, you really don't have no idea. Like experience is the best teacher. And the experience of losing a loved one and going through that grief, I bet you won't go outside again. I bet you won't. In a group of 50 people trying to have a party and drinking and jumping around. Like, no, like this thing is real. Like,
and I think another question that Tony the Talker asked, but like individually,
Tony the Talker.
what's your long-term view, Marcel, for what you want to do in the funeral business?
With that, it's not a definite answer. Of course, I have dreams. I have dreams since I was a child. I have goals, visions. I've done vision boards, all that good stuff. But man, I'm just really following the spirit. I'm trusting God. Following my personal legend every day and just trying to remain focused, because sometimes it's somebody over here talking, then it's somebody over here talking on my shoulder. So just following and trusting the process, like, because when I tried to control what I wanted to do, it never went right. You know what I mean? And so just doing this, when you're doing your calling, when you're operating in your calling, you have to trust the spirit. You can't just operate on your own whims. Like, there's no way it's going to be right because you have no answers. But what you better do is every day just try to follow your personal legend, follow your spirit, your consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Like, that's all I can tell you. And I know there's something maybe different coming from me, maybe on a different level, different frequency of operating in this funeral business, but I'm excited to see whatever it may be. Of course, I have personal goals when it comes to this, but I'm excited for whatever may happen. You know,
Yes.
I'm just like, to me, just operating in this gift already is successful enough. Like, if this is all I had to do, like, and I'm happy with doing this, like, I'm already good. Like, I'm already good. But like, whatever else may come, like, these are all cherries on top. Like, money is just a cherry on top. Money is just a piece of paper, whatever. Like, you have to really love what you do. And if you're doing that, like what you're doing, BG, like, you're already successful. Like, I don't look at, I have visions, like, naturally, like most people do. Like, yeah, I want this, I want that. Some people, I want a funeral home. Like, and they may change tomorrow. You may own some cemeteries, funeral homes, and crematories on top of that, So I do believe that anything is possible. I'll say it like that. I believe anything in the world is possible. There's nothing that can't be done.
Yeah.
And so I'm in that wave right there, yeah.
Definitely.
And so, T, what's your view? And I know you have a business, Beautiful Creations, where you make funeral announcements for people.
I make announcements. I definitely want to take that to a whole new level. I just make announcements for right now, but in the near future, I'll be offering the services: obituaries, stand-up banners, casket panel inserts, or whatever. And I want to do that. I want to own a funeral home. I want to own crematory. I want to own all of this stuff, but right now,
You never know.
Got my time. What God has for me, it will be for me. And that's what I want to do. And it's going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know where, but it's going to happen.
So you want to know something real quick?
Oh, go ahead, Marcel.
Since we're on this topic, and it's funny y'all on this topic, because I was just reading the 4 Agreements. And also before that, I think I read The Alchemist. Yeah, right before.
Those are both great books, by the way.
Yeah. And so in both books, they talk about appreciating being present in the moment. Don't think about the past. Don't be anxious about the future. Just really enjoy right now, because that's all life is what we're doing right now is living. Like, thinking about tomorrow is not life. Thinking about yesterday is not life. You're kind of going backwards. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just trust the process, whatever you may be going through. But while you're doing that, appreciate the moment you're having right now. Like, this is essential. Like, this is all we have right now. This moment that we're sharing, it's beautiful. But after we hang up, that's it. Right. So just focus on what's right in front of you at that time. And that's what I'm doing. That's why when you ask me that question, I'm just kind of going with, it's a plan in place, but I'm kind of flowing with it too. And kind of being open to whatever may come, because it may take a different trajectory. And I want to be ready for that too, because Tauruses, we hate change. But I'm just opening myself up more to kind of go with where he's taking me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I would put it like that.
Do you think you guys need more people that should come into mortuary science, or do you think that the career is already like overflowing?
Man, I get excited when somebody wants to come into mortuary science. Like, when I go to career day to these schools and stuff, like, I get excited. Like, man, I get so excited just to meet a young person. It's like, oh, I want to be a mortician. I'm like, word? Like, I get the thrills. Like, that's another thing I love doing, just going to different schools, talking to kids, and just sharing with them what I do, and just, things like that. So I think it's dope. Like, I want more kids to kind of look into this. Yeah. Because to answer that as well, like, I didn't look for this either though. Like I didn't look for this. I didn't see anybody really doing this. Nobody talked to me. It was just kind of in me some way, somehow. But along the journey, I tend to reach back and find younger folks that want to do this. And I have mentees over the years, you know, that kind of want to do this. And this is a pretty cool thing just to have somebody look up to you, you know, and just to respect you and to mirror you. Like it's weird, but it's a blessing too that somebody looks up to you in that way. And I'm always trying to reach back to help somebody younger in some capacity if I can, and just to uplift them, you know. So I think it's dope.
So people can DM either you, Marcel, at I see it's young_funeral_06 or UT at beautiful.
Yeah. If you're interested, please hit us up. We would love to have you. But if it's not your passion, if it's not in your heart, don't do it. Don't do something because you just see money sign. Okay.
And
yes,
also T, think about this. Like it's 168 people on this thing right now, right? It's kind of fluctuating. The numbers are fluctuating, but out of those numbers, you know that some of these people's families have been affected by what's going on right now, right? So you have to think. We have to stop for a minute and just think about that, right? Like we have to be very sensitive and respectful to these people. And so if you're going through something right now, if your family's been affected, if you're talking with a funeral home and you're not quite sure what to do or what's going on, it's kind of fishy, like hit us up. Like it's just information. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to do that. We just want to give you information. At least I am. I know T will, to just kind of steer you in some direction. If I don't have the answer, I know somebody who do. You know, whether you're in Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, anywhere, just call me. You know, reach out to me, and I can put you in touch with somebody.
Somebody.
So,
and
just know that we're praying for you.
What's the best way to be prepared, right? For death, right? What's the best way to prepare yourself?
Well, you have to
just knowing.
You have to be okay with death. You know.
But why, T? Tell us how. How do you prepare yourself? How should we be prepared
So for me,
for this?
all I know is to have like a will or a trust, right? To have all my documents ready. Like my grandma taught me that when my grandfather died, right? Like have everything set out for what you want. So the grieving process for your family is a lot easier. But is there anything else that you think that people need to do to prepare themselves for this process?
Like emotionally, like I'll start simple. Like of course, like make sure you have like a insurance policy, like you said, will or trust. But the most basic thing you can have is like an insurance policy, at least 10,000. Like at least 10. I'm not saying all funerals are going to be 10,000, but at least 10,000, you know, in case you might want to have extra to do something, maybe have a repast, but have that. But outside of just that, to prepare yourself, you just have to have a foundation with God or whoever you believe. If you're talking about emotionally or spiritually, you have to have some type of foundation to hold on to, I think is the answer. Like that's my answer for anything in life to be prepared for. Like know that there's somebody that can hold you up when times get hard. You know what I mean? Like God is with you. Like nothing in this world is impossible. And there's nothing that you're going through that you won't get out of. Like absolutely nothing. Like I'm all for, you know, just encouraging people, especially like, cause I know when I'm down, I want somebody to speak some strong words to me and to remind me that life still goes on and you're going to be okay, bro, because you got through that last situation. Remember? Do I have to tell you again what you got through last week or last year, the year before that? And that was bigger than this. So to everybody, we all lose family members. And I know it's tough. I can't tell people how to grieve, but just find something to hold on to. If you're not a believer, just find something. That's all I can tell you, just to hold on to, and somebody to talk to. You know, a therapist maybe. I think is important because you got to think about this, B. Like I watched you this month kind of roll out this Be Great series, and a lot of people talk about success and things like that, but they don't talk about the things that it takes to kind of get through the personal issues and traumas of our lives before we even begin to see what we can do as a person. Like before we can believe ourselves, we have to get rid of something first, right? All that trauma, all that self-hate, all that, oh, I don't think I look good enough, I'm not good enough, that self-doubt, like that has to go. You got to start believing yourself first. Like that's success. Like mentally taking your mind to another level from not believing to believing something. You know how much power that takes? Sometimes it takes time and attention and focus and determination. Like that takes a lot. Like think about that. Making money don't take a whole lot. I mean, it takes some effort. You got to move around. You got to get up. You can't be lazy. But like personal issues in your life, in your mind, your spirit, that you can't move forward, that's blocking you. Like, you have to get it off you every day. And you have to believe no matter what, when you wake up, you got to be a dog and say, I got to get it. And it can't be just for you. See, when it's just for you, it's not strong enough. You got to be doing it for other people. You know what I'm saying? You got to be willing to help other people. I'm doing it for them. Like, God didn't give me this just so I can enjoy it. He gave it to me so I can give it away and use it. And maybe He's going to give me something else to use and to give away. And so every day you got to be refilled every day when you're working. I know in this business, because we're drained every day. Spiritual drain you every day. Because like you said, they're looking for a host to draw from.
Yeah.
And you got to be like, you have to know that and be okay and be like, I still can do this. Like, I don't care what I'm faced with, because this is what I'm supposed to do. So with this pandemic going on, it kind of halted me for a minute at first. I had to learn how to navigate around it, operating with these people. But this is what I'm here for. I can't tap out. So I had to research how to do this and how to protect myself and just go full force. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying be silly, but you gotta, if you're gonna do something, do it. Like, my dad always taught me, don't do nothing unless you can finish it. Don't even start it. Don't even look at it unless you know you're gonna finish it. Don't pick it up.
Come on, Marcel.
Like, leave it on the ground. If you ain't ready to go outside, stay on the porch. Like, seriously, stay on the porch, because this world is crazy. It's real. There's a lot of energy out here that's just pulling against you and things like that. These pandemics, whatever. Like, you have to be prepared every day.
All the time.
Every day.
And I know we only got like 3 minutes left,
Ooh,
or 4 minutes.
Boy.
Oh, stop. You had a guy on here yesterday. I want to shout him out. Booby something, whatever.
Booby.
Oh, my God. That dude is amazing. That dude is crazy. So I want to give him a shout out. I don't know this dude at all, but this dude is crazy. His energy,
great.
like, man, listen, dude, you are great. I'm not sure if he's watching this, but I was literally like watching him talk yesterday, and I felt him before I even seen him. Like, because I was listening but doing something. I'm like, who is? And I had to look. And man, his spirit is crazy. Like, dude, man, some of the things that he was saying, like, I was like right there with him. Like, so Booby, I'm gonna connect with you. I don't think I'll follow him, but I will. I wrote his name down somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, man, connecting yourself with people like that is dope. Like, whatever your circle is, like, he's definitely a plug. Like, off his energy for sure. Like, he's a beautiful spirit. So shout out to you, bro. Like, whoever you are, like, bless you, man. And to you, BG, thank you for real, for like just doing your thing. Like, you might not think it's nothing. You might think it's easy, it's normal, it's natural. But a lot of people are scared to do what you're doing. A lot of people are scared. And number one, you've been consistent with doing this on different platforms. You're not just doing like, oh, I'm on IG today doing this at 5 o'clock. You're doing everything else on top of that. Like, you know how amazing that is? Like, here go your flowers today. Like, you deserve it. Like, you're amazing. And I'm glad that you even wanted to just talk with me on here. Like, I appreciate that. Like, I love what I do and just talking to people about it. And so just having the opportunity to meet you. I know we kicked it one time before. Like, it's dope. Like, you're definitely a dope person.
Yes,
kind of just watch. You know, you mentor a lot of people, you know, from afar. Like, we watch you. And, like, you are something to be reckoned with. Like, I appreciate you for sure. Like,
thank you.
You definitely inspired me.
Yeah. And T, keep doing your thing too. In this business, T, keep doing your thing. I encourage you too to keep going. I know you have a heart for this, and whatever you're doing, I'm going to give you your flowers too, because, you know, you encourage me in so many ways too that you might not even know. Like, I have so many mentors, they don't even know that I watch them. Like, it could be women, it could be men. It don't matter. Like, yeah, especially like now, like I'm more into social media now, like really paying attention to people, because that's the way the world is. And I don't really see people a lot unless I go somewhere, because I'm in a funeral home majority of my time. So yeah, like Booby, my nigga, like he's dope. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, that's all I got to say so far. So
I'm about to say, T, we got 40 seconds left. So who's being great in your life?
Baby, you definitely being great.
Thank you.
Her work, y'all. If you don't know Brittany personally, her work ethic is bomb. Her passion is bomb. Her ambition is bomb.
Gang. Yep.
Okay, like I really am inspired by her. I'm inspired by my colleagues in the funeral business. Definitely Marcel. He doesn't know, but I definitely be watching him.
But real talk, shout out to all the funeral directors, morticians, nurses, firemen, policeman,
Nurses,
Anthony Coquit.
doctors,
You might be on here.
all
Shout out to
essential
you.
workers. Thank you.
But also some personal friends. Cameron Smith, my ship.
All right, I'm gonna get Marcel one more time. We almost finished, but before I get Marcel Tee, shout out who's being great in your life.
I did shout out. I shout you out.
What about God, your mama?
Baby, her. Definitely my mother. I love my mom. She's my biggest supporter. She puts me before her. Brittany, what are you doing?
I'm trying to look for my phone so I can get hear this.
Okay.
Oh,
We're gonna let you.
There's Marcel. I want to bring him in one more time.
Definitely my mom. Definitely my mom. Brittany for a fact. God. That's my biggest supporter. Love him. He's level-headed, and I thank him for it.
We were just finishing off, Marcel, and I know T was saying some people too. So
it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. But for real, like all the SIU fam, all the Salukis out there, like just again, like I say, following their legend and just going off in their own perspective fields. Like I appreciate y'all. Like just the energy and just seeing people, you know, that you went to school with, kind of just floating in their own wave, right? Like it's dope. Like I love the fact that the Salukis are out here like killing it in their own right, and like just doing what they simply love to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I really like. I like to see young folks like us, even younger, just doing something, you know, against all odds. Like I was judged so much for wanting to be a mortician coming up, and even now, but like do your own thing. Walk to the beat of your own drum.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate anybody doing their own thing. Like that's dope to me. Like that's encouraging to me too, because it motivates me to kind of want to, you know, just do my own thing, and it has. So yeah, the list is very, very long, so I'll digress there. So
shout out God too. Don't forget.
Shout out God. Yeah.
But I appreciate both of y'all too for coming on the live, for talking even about this like heavy subject, right? People always, no one really wants to talk about death, but death is inevitable, and I'm glad y'all.
Get this. I got 3 books I want to recommend. These 3 quick reads. I hope you don't mind, BG. Look, 3 books you should read. The 4 Agreements, Off the Meat Racks. If you haven't read it, get that. A super quick read, As a Man Thinketh. Most powerful 10-page book you can ever read in your life. James Allen. That's crazy. And this is crazy too. The story in it is crazy. The Alchemist. Christina Cologne gave me this book as a gift. So I want to shout her out as well. So she's doing a lot of things in the marijuana industry and stuff like that. So I want to shout her out for just being great as well. Can you do what?
Borrow those books when this pandemic is over.
I might let you look at a couple on. You can't check them out. You can't check these out. I have a whole lot of books you can borrow, but not these 3.
What you mean I can't check them out?
You got to leave some real. Look, you got to leave some real collateral. Like for those 3, they're my babies. I don't have kids. Those are my kids. You can't have those. So yeah, I have 2.
In those books, right? I think a lot of people talk about, you know, people are reading, right? You grab a lot in a book. And so I'm glad that you dropped those 3, and I'm glad y'all both came on talking and spitting knowledge about the funeral business, why people should get into mortuary science, also not to be afraid of it, right? And during quarantine, what's going on. And if you want to talk to Marcel or T, please DM them or hit them up. And if you don't have their ads, please reach out to me, and I will gladly give them to you. And I appreciate y'all.
Shout out Justin Johnson too. I forgot.
Yes.
My boy. Shout out Justin Johnson, Kicks for the City. I'm so sad that we won't have one this year. Like if you're watching this, Jay, man, you got to come up with something. He's also another great one, just like you, BG. Y'all have a way of bringing people together. Like that's the most amazing thing you can do. That's a gift as well. So we need people like you, like Justin, that are out there doing great things. And maybe someday we all do something, come together where we just, you know, give back in a different type of way. So shout out him. I saw that I had this shirt on today. I wear this shirt a lot though, actually. But anyway, yeah. Shout out to all the Saluki. Shout out you, JJ.
Yes, and I love it. Yeah. All right, I will save this and I'll add it to YouTube and I'll send y'all the link. And thank you guys so much for staying tuned in, especially for the 60 people who came on for the live after the hour. So I appreciate y'all. And thank you, Marcel. Thank you, T. And yeah, have a great rest of y'all weekend. Be blessed, y'all.
Thank you.
Great quarantine.
Peace.
They can't go nowhere.